Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the IHS virtual information session. Today we're introducing our specialization in urban housing, equity and social justice. This is actually the last of our webinars of this series. Today I'm here with the course coordinators, Maartje, Bahar, and our research assistant, David. I'm the admissions officer, Fergal, and so we prepared a short presentation, about 20-25 minutes, and the idea is that this is a Q&A session. So we're going to go over the structure of the urban management and development program. We'll go deeper into some of the course content of the specialization itself, and we're also going to have some time for some questions and answers at the end. So it's an interactive session. Please feel free to write down your questions as we're presenting. What we're going to do at the end of the presentation is we'll go back and we'll try and answer all of the questions individually. But don't worry if you join late or if we don't get to answer any of your questions. Our contact information will be at the end of the presentation, and we can always follow up with you another time. Something else we'll do is make sure that we talk about a bit more about the students of IHS and also our alumni, give you an idea of what makes a good application and also what some of our alumni do after they leave IHS as well. So, as I said, the Urban Housing, Equity and Social Justice track is one of 6 specialization tracks of the Urban Management and Development Master's Program we have here. This Master's Program is our flagship program. So, every October, IHS welcomes about 100 different urban specialists across a completely international context, across several different areas of expertise to study this program. It's an intensive 1-year program. And it's split up into 4 blocks, as you'll see in the infographic. So in block 1, it's very much about getting to know your colleagues and your cohort. We have general courses in urban theories, public-private partnerships, as well as interactive group work and workshops and things like action planning. The reason we structure it this way is because it's something we're really keen on here is knowledge sharing amongst peers. So it gives you an idea to not just meet your colleagues, but also understand their backgrounds and their expertise as well. Quite soon after you join us in block 1, you will go straight into the specializations. So you'll have picked your specialization track at the admission stage, and then you'll be in a smaller group of about 15 to 20 students working specifically in that field of housing, equity and social justice, if that's what you choose. What that means is by block 2, you're working exclusively within your specialization. This is when you'll really go deep on content. Like I already said, it's quite an intensive program. I will warn you now. But I will also say, so in block 2, we also introduce our program of guest lectures. We're very proud of the network of professionals we have domestically and internationally, that we give guest lectures every Friday, I think it is. Also, IHS offers a program of elective programs. The idea of this is so that by the end of block 1 and block 2, you're really fully armed, you're fully equipped to start your research and your thesis topic. Hopefully you'll have an in-depth knowledge of the specialization that you've chosen, but you also have a comprehensive and multidisciplinary understanding of urban development more generally. So I'll hand you over to my course content specialist now. And the housing team.
Hi, hello everybody. My name is Maartje and I will introduce the housing team. You see our pictures up here. This is Alonso Ayala. He's the coordinator of the specialization. Then we have me, Maartje, Bahar and David. Well, Alonso, as I said, is the coordinator of the specialization and he teaches mainly on housing policies, human settlement planning, housing and the environment, and adaptation to climate change. As a consultant, he works mostly on housing policies for international organizations like the World Bank, bilateral donors, and the EU. And as a researcher, his interest is mostly on housing transformation, affordable housing, housing policies, and planning. And this is me. I teach mostly on housing rights and displacement and resettlement, housing and livelihoods, and frugal innovation, and gender and resettlements. And as a consultant, I work for various multilateral and bilateral donor agencies, and I'm also coordinate, and I'm involved in NUFIC OKP training projects mostly in Africa and Asia. And as a researcher, my interest lies mostly in the field of displacement and resettlement, the gender impact of resettlement, housing, livelihoods, and innovation.
Hi everyone, I'm Bahar Sakizlioglu, housing expert and urban sociologist. And my teaching is mostly focusing on urban renewal, gentrification, displacement, comparative urbanism, gender and housing. I do consultancy on the issues of gender and housing policies, relocation policy, housing, social housing policy. And my research is mostly on gentrification, displacement, urban renewal, regeneration projects, housing, and gender.
Good morning, everybody. I'm David Schelkshorn. I'm originally from Vienna, from Austria, and I'm the research assistant of the IHS team. I did a master in urban geography at the University of Amsterdam, and I also graduated in spatial planning at the Technical University of Vienna. My activities in the housing team, I am coordinating a short course, a postgraduate short course on how to develop social housing projects. I'm involved in the master track, which we are presenting right now, and I'm also involved in developing proposals. From my research, I'm mostly interested in the relationship between the demand and the supply side of housing. I was researching on housing and young adults and housing insecurity and rental housing in India and Chennai.
Okay, why would you now want to study housing? Well, the world is facing a housing affordability crisis. In many, if not all the cities, housing is unaffordable either by ownership or rental. And therefore, people are compelled to either overcrowd an existing housing stock or occupy informally and illegally available land in locations that are not suitable for human habitation, thus creating a vicious circle of informality and undermining the sustainability of cities. By 2025, it is projected that almost 440 million people live in either substandard housing or they are so financially stretched that they forego other essentials such as healthcare. So the housing problem is huge and growing. Well, there is international recognition of the importance of housing. If we look at Swedish SIDA and African governments and several international organizations, they are increasingly getting into the question of affordable housing provision. SIDA, for instance, is increasing its housing portfolio. Also, the Cities Alliance has recently launched a global program on housing and slum upgrading with the intention of reviving the core of its existence and foundation in response to demands of its partners and members. The EU has launched its housing partnership for the new urban agenda in the Union States and is rolling out a lot of activities to promote affordable social housing provision. And many countries all over the globe recognize housing as a critical basic need and a human right and have placed it at the center of their policies. For example, the Mexican government has just relaunched its national policy to connect housing with sustainable urbanization. The Cuban government has adopted housing at the center of the new urban agenda. And countries like India and China have revisited their policies to focus on scaled up provision of affordable housing and social housing supply. And the SDG 11, and particularly SDG 11.1, is about provision of affordable housing for all and upgrading of informal settlements, including service provision, which means in practice that housing is part and parcel of sustainable development.
And why should you study urban housing, equity, social justice program? At the end of the program, you will be able to develop theoretical and methodological skills and gain critical negotiation skills, solution-oriented practical skills. And you will be able to conduct your thesis in collaboration with our ongoing projects in various countries. You will have the possibility of guided fieldwork research in ongoing research projects of UHES, and you will have the chance, the you will have the chance of making internships with our partners. And after your graduation, you can make partnerships with housing staff and experts on courses, research, and advisory projects around the world.
Why would you now want to come to IHS? Well, we are international experts in applied research. We have a broad and powerful alumni network working in different fields, such as national ministries to international cooperation agencies, and you will be connected to them. Rotterdam allows you to understand innovative urban solutions like housing, public spaces, alternative to motorized transportation, and we are a truly and diverse environment. And you will get an MSc from a top 100 university. And we're always up to date in our training programs, thanks to our refresher courses and tailor-made training programs, and also our research. We are fully supported by UN Habitat. They are partners of UHS. And Claudio Ascioli, is the head of the capacity building branch of UN Habitat, has also said that we need more and more housing practitioners who understand and adopt the concepts and practices that we provide in the UHS specialization.
So if we go on with the strengths of our team, as a team we have shared values to alleviate poverty through addressing the housing challenge, and we strongly believe in making a difference through education and our training. And we are a competent team. We have accumulated a wealth of experience on the field of housing, working as researchers, consultants, trainers, and lecturers. And we have capacity to network. We have a big network. We deliver quality education in cooperation with our Dutch and international networks. So if I go on with our partners and guest lecturers, we do make collaboration with other master tracks in the at IHS. One of which is strategic urban planning and policy. The second one is climate change. The third is urban land and governance. And the fourth, infrastructure and green cities. We also have guest lecturers coming from first Center for Affordable Housing Finance in Africa. Kisha Rust is coming from the center, and we have Claudia Ascioli from UN Habitat, and we have Ellen Kurtz from the Hague University of Applied Sciences lecturing at our program. And our main international partners are UN Habitat, Asian Coalition for Housing Rights, Center for Affordable Housing Finance in Africa, and Anna University. And if I go on with our Dutch partners and network, we collaborate with TU Delft and Amsterdam Federation of Housing Corporations, the Hague University, and Housing Corporations. So, the UHS specialization stands for 3 values principles. The first of which is equity. We stand for housing policies and institutional frameworks that recognize people's needs for housing, ensuring that everyone has access to it according to their circumstances and needs. And our second principle is housing adequacy. We stand for the creation of human settlements that foster economic, social, and spatial integration and inclusion. And our third principle is social justice. We stand for supporting housing rights and enhancing people's efforts for an improved quality of life. And our main objective in this specialization is to evaluate how housing policies and approaches address housing challenges.
Okay, now we'll give you an overview of our housing specialization. We start with an introduction where we will deal with the housing challenge, inequity, informality, and injustice, looking at the meaning of housing. What does it mean? the global housing affordability crisis, the new urban agenda and the sustainable development goals, and then looking at housing justice and housing rights. And then model 1 actually, the first one is the introduction, focuses on the governance of the housing sector, where we look into housing policies much deeper, the paradigms and the trends, land policies, how the housing sector works, and the housing needs and the 5 A's framework that we developed at IHS.
So in Model 2, we go deeper into the issues of affordability by looking at the relationships between the housing sector and the economy. We run this model in collaboration with the Center for Affordable Housing Finance in Africa. So Keisha Rust comes personally for 1 full week to run this model with us together. And we will discuss the concept of housing affordability and the basic functioning of demand and supply of housing and land in both informal and in informal markets. We also explore some conventional and less conventional government interventions in housing markets, and we also look about some finance instruments that help to increase the housing affordability. And at the end of this module, we will have a housing needs assessment workshop in which you will learn how to find the gaps in the housing market and to understand the different segments of households in terms of housing needs and housing affordability. In Model 3, we discussed the relationship between housing and the socioeconomic and spatial development in cities. So during these sessions, we expand the concept of equity and social justice, and we discuss the current debate on spatial justice in urban planning. So we will discuss theories and concepts like gentrification and segregation, the right to the city and the movement behind it, and the human right to adequate housing.
In Module 4, we focus on sustainable housing and climate change. And among the subtopics that we discuss here are human settlement planning, circular economy in housing, sustainable housing, and climate change. And we do this module in collaboration with the colleagues from Green Cities. And in Module 5, the topic is formal and informal approaches to housing, adequate housing for all. And we focus on topics like slum upgrading, resettlement, rental housing, housing and livelihoods, and housing for specific groups. And throughout the specialization, we have the case study workshop, where you gain practical skills and apply what is being learned throughout the week. And we have cutting across teams that you work on the practical part. And those cross-cutting teams are finance and economics, urban governance, sustainability and climate change, livelihoods, technology, and innovation.
Okay, now we move to the fieldwork part, the data collection for the thesis. What we offer in our specialization is that you can join a joint fieldwork in Chennai in India. This project is connected to a broader research project of the IHS team, and that research is on resettlement livelihoods and frugal innovation. The research and also the joint fieldwork is in collaboration with the media department of Anna University in Chennai and with their students. And we also work with other partners like the Madras Institute for Development Studies. We work with NGOs, CBOs, and planners from Chennai, the Chennai Metropolitan Development Authority. And we work with environmental and housing activists. So we have a broad network there with whom we connect. This is an example, what you see on this slide, is example of student research as done in the UMD 15 last year. We had students from different specializations, including our housing specialization. And one student looked at the community resilience and human cognition in climate change adaptation of resettled communities in Chennai. Someone else looked at the impact of resettlement on social vulnerability of women in one of the resettlement sites. David looked at informal rental housing practices in an old Sites and Services Resettlement Scheme. Then we have Ahmed Tarek from Egypt, who looked at the impact of Chennai Rivers Restoration Project, riverfront development and displacement. And then we had Lilian from Tanzania, who looked at safety of public space for women in resettlement sites. This is not mandatory, this is what we offer. So you can also choose your own topic and your own location, but this is that we offer you to join this this research. Possible research topic. Well, you see a lot here on the slide. But possible topics, suggestions that fit within our overall specialization, our resettlement and the 5 A's. This is a framework that the housing team has developed to evaluate policies and programs. The gender impact of resettlement, you can look at safety issues, habitability and gender, adaptation to high-rise, the role of local organizations in improving livability, resettlement, mobility and livelihoods, rural innovation, so inclusive technology to improve livelihoods, acceptability and affordability of technology in slums, resettlement sites, gentrification. This is just a couple of themes that are possible. Okay, research support. What do we provide as research support? We provide you with a database of literature, particularly for the Chennai research. So this guided fieldwork support and data collection, where 1 or 2 of our staff joined in 1 week. And there's also possibility of joint publications with the IHS staff. And in Chennai, we have a broad number of partners, but if you go to another place, we can also link you up with other partners like the Habitat International Coalition, the Center for African Housing Finance, and we also offer the possibilities to get connected with UHS alumni who are in many places, in many interesting positions.
Okay, let's go on with our teaching methods. We do interactive lectures and small group discussions. And we have the Housing Justice workshop throughout the specialization where you apply the theory-backed practical skills. We have excursions in Rotterdam and Amsterdam, where you apply the learnings through these excursions. And we also use a variety of games and role plays in the street-led upgrading game, resettlement game, etc. So, who are we seeking to attract? So we do want to attract participants who are curious about housing and urban at large. And we want to attract participants who want to make an impact on cities, who are free, deep, and independent thinkers and will make change in the cities. And we also want to attract people who are analytically and critically strong and want to think creatively about how we can make impact in urban and housing field.
Okay, some more research topic examples, a bit more broader. So what we have had in recent years is one thesis on that with the name Connecting the Disconnected, the role of ICT in livelihood restorations for women in resettlement sites. This is a case in Kanaginagar, a resettlement site in Chennai. There's one of our participants who went to Konkan. This was also a guided field work in Konkan in Thailand, who looked at social exclusion through employers' housing, the case of low-skilled international migrants. There's one participant from Ghana who looked at access to housing and livelihoods of female migrant headquarters in the Kumasi metropolis. There's one participant from Bangladesh who looked at coping with development-induced displacement and resettlement, an analysis of spatial transformation of restoring livelihood in a case of Kopalganji resettlement project in Bangladesh. And last year we had one student who did a research on the impact of gentrification on adequate housing of elderly residents in Galinga resident participation in the government-led urban renewal of public housing. Okay, so where do UHS alumni work? Well, this is a selected group, just to give you an idea of the variety of jobs that people end up after they have joined UHS. For instance, we have an affordable housing expert who works at the World Bank office in Jakarta. We have someone who's an associate professor at the National College of Arts in Lahore, Karachi. We have a director of housing and social services in Chilabombe Municipal Council in Zambia, a physical planner at Kigali City Council in Rwanda, a director of operations at Initiative for the Support and Promotion of Human Shelter in Abuja, Nigeria. We have a policy advisor at GIZ Syria. We have a coordinator support center who works at the Support Center for Housing, Microfinance and Technical Assistance to Slum Dwellers in Mexico City. Somebody who's a lecturer of International Urban Development Studies in Ethiopia and Addis. A community architect who works in Bandung, Indonesia, and a PhD scholar at the School of Urban and Regional Planning at the University of the Philippines. Just a grab of a few alumni.
Thanks very much, guys. I hope that was helpful. I hope that was you have a clear understanding of the program and what we offer here in the specialization and the IHS. So just to round up, like I said, so if you have any questions, if anything wasn't covered in the presentation itself, please write us a question in the box on the right-hand side of the screen. But we're moving to the end of the presentation now, so I'll just go over some practical matters. As I think you can understand, and as I warned you at the top, and as you've seen in the presentation, there's a lot of work to do when you join the UMD program, the master's program with us. It's 12 months, it's 12 full months, and you hit the ground running when you join us in October. Graduation is at the end of September, so it's an intensive year, but it's by the end of it, you're a real community of people. You very close with each other, and I feel like you were very cohesive by the end of the year. The tuition fee for all of our students is €13,900. One of the main questions I think we get at this time of year is about funding, what's available, what isn't available. If you have any questions, I always think the best thing you can do is just contact us directly. We've been working on making a comprehensive scholarship database on our website that gives you an idea about funding options and payment plans and things like that. Please do check that out, it's very useful. But like I said, if you have any questions, please just contact the admissions office. The only other thing I would say as well is please bear in mind the application deadlines. A lot of our students are applying now because if you want to apply for the scholarships, you have to be admitted before the 1st of March. Similarly, anyone who applies earlier, we have a tuition fee discount of €1,000 if you pay before July 1st. So, just to round up, if you are thinking about applying, maybe you've already applied, maybe you're just thinking about applying. I recognize some of the names in the chat box on the side. This is an overview of our admissions requirements. They're pretty vague, but that's because we have to accommodate for a completely international group of applications. We're not looking for one type of student. We're not looking for a specific grade point average. We look at a whole bunch of different factors when we're looking at an application. What we want to see is a high academic level, not just in your final grade, but we look at all your transcripts, the individual modules that you've studied. Do you have a background in economics that could be useful? Do you have a application of research methods? These are all things that are really helpful in helping us understand how you'll interact in our classroom. We are looking at the quality of the university you've studied at. We also really value work experience. I always say there's no one type of IHS student, but a lot of our students are mid-level professionals. They already have some degree of working experience. I think what you'll see from that alumni slide is our students come from all over the world and they do all kinds of things. What they really share though is they have a desire to upskill. So maybe you are working in the NGO sector and you want to move into another sector, and this master's program would help bridge you into another area. So there's a whole bunch of things to consider. The thing that we always stress, though, is we are an international institute and English is the operational language. So please do make sure that you've got an English language test before you apply. So I think that's everything we've got to show you guys today. I hope that was helpful. Like I said, so we're going to move to the Q&A part of the presentation now. We'll go through the questions individually and we'll hang around until I think you're happy with our answers. So we'll just start at the top. How can I apply for admission to the MSc? Well, I hope I was helpful at the end. I hope that was clear. At the end of this presentation, Shazad, I will provide the contact information of the admissions office. If anything wasn't clear from what we said, please contact us directly. We'll hope to get back to you this week. Yulan, is there an OKP scholarship for the MSc in urban? Yes. So the OKP scholarship is open for all of our programs. And it's open to 55 different countries. There are strict entry criteria, but they're all clearly listed on our website. We're OKP experts in the admissions office, so if anything's not clear, you can always ask us directly. Okay. How can local governments tap the services of IHS for developing housing projects?
One possibility is that we develop tailor-made training programs. So we can develop a tailor-made program in discussion with the specific local government to design a tailor-made program for your institution. And there's several ways that can be funded, maybe through NUFIC or through the local government or the national government. So there are different ways where we can develop proposals with you.
Okay, Katita asks, what educational backgrounds are recommended for prospective students? Katita, I really can't say it anymore. So the hundreds of students that we have in that classroom, they're going to come from 40 to 50 different countries. There's no one kind of IHS student, and we look at all kinds of backgrounds. We just need to understand how you will interact with people from around with different backgrounds. Things you might expect, human geography, public administration, planning, architects. This very much represents what the classroom looks like when you join us in October. But like I said, you're going to be working with economists, you're going to be working with engineers, you're going to be working with people from completely different backgrounds. Mm. And what you're really going to gain from the program itself is the stuff that you learn from each other, as well as what we try and teach you during the course. I hope that was clear. Okay, Kevin, I have a postgraduate diploma in local government administration. Am I eligible? Well, Kevin, I would certainly like to see an application from you. As I always say, if you're interested in IHS, just apply. Even if the answer is yes, no, or maybe, we're always happy to give feedback on an application. If IHS sounds like something where studying with us could be beneficial to you, I would definitely hope that you would apply. A local government administrator, though, you sound very IHS to me. Yeah.
Yes, very much.
Okay, I think Kevin was the last question for now. We will hang around for a couple more minutes just to make sure that everyone's happy with us. We won't leave you guys beforehand. But as I said, if anything hasn't been answered, or if you just want to chat to us some more, please just get in touch. That's the admissions office at the bottom, but you can find all of our contact information on the website itself. So it looks like we have no more questions, okay, which means everyone is happy. So,
okay, great.
Thanks very much, guys.
Yes,
all
thank
right.
you.
Okay,
thanks for your time. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
No?